Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Ankerstar Wealth Morning Show. Mike has green on. You know what that means. It's green across the board. We will get to, and lucky too. I just saw that for the first time. But yeah, it's green across the board. We're going to talk about why it's green. Largely, it's the inflation number that came out this morning that, you know what, people see like, oh, 0.1% better than expected. We're partying like it's 1999 today in the
Ugh.
market. Maybe it's not quite that good out. Mike will give you his thoughts here in a little bit, but I do want to talk about Apple. You know, we were a little bit muted in how we thought the market would respond to Apple after their big day. You know what? They were kind of like yawned it away the first day, but you know what? They're back because they're realizing one thing: everybody's got to upgrade like all their stuff if they want to do Apple AI stuff. So we'll get into that here in a minute. I'll show you the chart. You're going to like what you see. Then I'm going to hand it over to Mike. He's going to talk about the inflation number and then about how that's actually affecting the market. And of course, we have Chairman Powell going to speak a little bit later here this afternoon. And you know what? He's pretty good at either tapping an extra keg or ripping the keg away from the party and telling everybody to go home. So we'll see what he says here in a little bit. Before we get started, this is a financial education presentation. You have to do your own due diligence for act upon anything you hear in this presentation. More information is available at ankerstarwealth.com. The opinions expressed are Mike and mine alone, as well as the rest of the markets this morning, because we're like long Apple. It's our number one holding. There we go. We did expect a more muted response. But you know, hey, they're loving it. I'm showing you the overall market right now because now Apple's, I think, the biggest company again in the world. But the Nasdaq up 1.77%. That's just like awesome, especially if you're a big tech investor like Ankerstar Wealth. High fives across the board. So we're looking at really good numbers today. And let's get this shared out. So here's your Apple chart. New 52-week high. You know that. Looks good on the one-day basis. Let's just go to the one-year basis. And yeah, this is what happens. There's turbulence for the year. When we started, you know, it was like Apple went down from January basically to early May. And you know what? Oh, the story's over for Apple. Apple can't hang in the AI space. It's all NVIDIA, and then Apple's just blah, 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 blah. And then what does Apple do? Do they overreact and start leaking stuff out? No, they don't. They said, wait for it. We're going to talk in June. We're going to tell you what our hardware, or excuse me, what our software does in June. And then we're going to come back to you in September with the actual, you know, new phones and stuff. iPhone AI. I still have my fingers crossed that that's coming. But you can see that by being quiet, there's a whole bunch of speculation going into the actual release. And then, of course, now they're up at 217 as I sit here and stare at it. So, I mean, pretty impressive move up in Apple. When you look at fundamentals, though, you come right on down here and you go to the PE ratio. Even with this big move up, you know, we're a PE in the 30s. We're not up in the 200s like some of the other names are that are out there. But so it's got kind of its self-respect back. It's marching higher. You see it's 12% year to date. That doesn't include today. So you would tack on another, you know, 5, so up 17% year to date now. So I like what I see out of Apple. Do I think it can continue on this? No, I do not. This would not be the day that I would be like, I've been sitting on the sidelines for 2 decades and now FOMO, I'm in. No, just hold on. It's not that it's exciting, but it's not that exciting, right? You're not going to miss the boat here. So I do anticipate that it's probably going to chill out here. But if you know, Chairman Powell says, hey, we're cutting rates and we're starting today, you know, boom, off to the races with the entire market taking Apple with it. So we shall see. So I will stop sharing, and then Mike, over to you. Talk to us about this inflation number. Is it good news? Is good news now or bad news? What's going on?
Yes. Actually, I think this is good news is good news. We finally got a good news is good news situation. Inflation dropped. It was 0.1% below expectations. So that's good news. And the markets went up accordingly. And that's even better news. Unless you're sitting on the sidelines in cash, then you did not get a chance to buy in. But Powell can always bring that back down. So inflation, it has declined to a 3.3% increase. So you know that's from 3.4. And I'm gonna scroll down here through a few parts of this article, mainly in consumer staples like gasoline and groceries. And I'm going to show a chart on inflation because some things you have choices in and some things you don't. Like you're going to need to buy gasoline and groceries. You really don't have any choice in those, as opposed to some other things that I am going to show. So let me scroll down here and get to when I look at this first inflation thing, breaking out food up 2.1%. But listen to this: food at home up 1%. You can choose to eat at home or to eat out. So food at home 1%, food away from home 4%. So just think of that. If you want to save some money, I think my parents told me this, eat at home, don't eat out all the time. That being said, still within the food at home, there are some things that are higher, like juices are up 20% a year over year. Bacon up almost 7%. I don't know if you can give up your bacon, but other things more in line. When I continue to go down here, energy. So we look at energy up 3.7% year over year, electricity 5.9%, gasoline 2.1. So I don't know what this goes in our whole EV versus combustion engines, but EV, electricity is up. So, most people are on a gasoline engine anyways. Now here, Steve, this is the one that's troubling to me. Admission to sporting events up 21.7%. Oh no. Wait, that's an optional discretionary purchase. You don't have to attend sporting events. And so that I looked at that, but then the one that still bothers me a lot, motor vehicle insurance, still up 20% year over year. That has not totally hit back. You could tie it a little bit. Motor vehicle repair, 9.5%. Insurance usually pays that. Some other things here. And then the last one on this graph, rent of primary residence. So if you're renting a place, up 5.3%. Now, you have a choice to if you own a house, you have a choice. Hopefully you're in a fixed mortgage, so you're not, it's not going up, but you have the choice whether to move or not. And if you're moving, I get you, you're right in the brunt of inflation. So some other encouraging news. This is a graph. You can see it's kind of leveling out. We want to see this go down to 2.5% over the rest of this year. And this was an interesting graph that shows month over month. And if you look at this, it's a zero. So this is the same as last month. So really it's a zero, which on this graph, it only goes up to 1%. And you can see in 2022, that's why things got so ugly. So inflation, good news is good news in the markets too, which we always enjoy. Chairman Powell will have his statement later, and the famed Fed dot chart that you'll probably hear me cover later on. Let me show the market reactions. This is the NASDAQ, and Steve mentioned at a 52-week high. Boy, we love this graph. This graph's year to date. There's a few dips in there. And here's the S&P 500. Pretty much up, few dips. And just for kicks, our second biggest holding, Bitcoin up 3.5%. So, but it was down from last week. I consider it kind of flat, but I like to see the green. It's not quite time to get out my Bitcoin shirt. So, with that, very good news so far. We'll have more updates after Chairman Powell's speech, and I'll be putting out a weekly recap.
All right. Well, I love it, Mike. And you know what? I'm thinking out loud. Obviously, I'm not at home right now. I'm thinking, I don't know if I have a lot of green in my closet that I may have to either get some or just let you be the sole catalyst for driving the markets here. So, all right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed that today. Obviously, Mike and Steve are smiling bigger than ever when you're new highs, especially with your top holding. Even when your number two holdings up over 3%, life is good. So with that, stay tuned for what Chairman Powell says this afternoon. We will talk to you guys tomorrow.